Nelson Mandela said, "Do not judge me by my successes. Judge me by how many times I fell down and got back up again."
Through sustainable agriculture, Tadiwa had transformed her life. She had overcome the challenges of divorce and single motherhood, finding strength and resilience in the soil beneath her feet. And as she looked at her thriving garden, she knew that their future was brighter than ever before.
What makes us resilient on a personal level? And how can we build resilience in our food systems, in our communities, so that we can get back up and keep going when times are tough?
This episode is all about personal and community resilience and innovative agro-food practices. We'll hear from several inspiring individuals who have turned challenges into opportunities for growth and success. In this episode, we'll share inspiring stories like that of Tadiwa that highlight how capacity building and innovation can help to secure a more resilient future for our communities and for our children.
Yes, and we're joined in the studio today by Pamela Nyashama Pedzamombe and Melody Sengwe, and they took part in the Co-Create Change storytelling workshop program from which this podcast series was born, and they'll be guiding us through some of the stories of change. Hi ladies, welcome to the show today.
Hi Rudo, thank you so much for having us on the show. I'm very excited to be here. I'm Pamela Nyashama Pedzamombe, and I will be part of today's podcast. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, and me, I'm Melody Sengwe from Knowledge Sensory Africa. I'm happy to participate in this podcast.
It's really great to have you with us. Let's check out the stories. Over to you.
Thank you, Rudo. Thank you so much. So our first story takes us to Kufunda village in Rua. This is in Mashonaland East. Meet Robert Akumidongwe, whose life was transformed through training he received in organic farming and animal husbandry.
My name is Robert Akumdzongwe. I live at Kufunda village. I'm a farmer. I was poor without money, the shortage of food. I couldn't manage to pay school fees. Kufunda team came and teach me different skills like roadrunner chickens farming, organic farming. I started keeping my own chickens and started my own production of selling eggs. Multiply my production. I have so many chickens which have changed my life. I use manure for my fields and I can now feed my family and get income to pay school fees for my children.
Robert learned to rear roadrunner chickens at Kufunda village, this which I find pretty amazing. He was also trained in compost-making. Now, he uses his manure from his chickens to make organic fertilizer, which he then applies in his garden. This actually then also rolls into him reducing input costs from his horticulture production, and it actually also promotes enhanced soil health and yields. So as I'm looking at it, Robert's story is a testament to the importance of having opportunities for practical training and community support. His newfound skills in integrated poultry and organic vegetable farming have not only improved his financial situation, but as we look at it, it also enhanced his family's overall quality of life. So next, let's listen to a story with a similar lesson. And this story is from Chasayama in Chimanimani district, which is in Manicaland province. This story is from Thompson Mukwananzi, who has successfully established a tree nursery in Chasayama, despite numerous environmental challenges and what he calls the bad narrative that puts people off of tree planting in his area.
We do have got some challenges in our area, which includes water shortages, dry and hot weather. The soil is gravel. We've got some ants which destroys the plants. We have got that bad narrative from the villagers that fruit trees will not grow well in our area. I sometimes used to travel long distances in search of fruit. But after the PDC training at Porridge in 2020, I started my own tree nursery at home, doing both exotic and indigenous trees, with the fruit trees included there. By December the same year, I've managed to come up with 2,266 seedlings. Step by step, I managed to defeat that bad narrative that fruit trees will not grow well in our area. In the near future, we're no longer traveling distances again in search of fruits, while we will be taking fruits just a doorstep away, thereby selling and further processing surplus so that we can eat again as a family during off seasons.
Thanks to training workshops at Porridge Trust, Thompson now has a fruit orchard and is supplying seedlings and information to other people in his community. Planting food-bearing trees can enhance environmental and community resilience in a wide variety of ways. Trees are so important. They can improve soils, reduce flooding and erosion, and you can create savings and extra income and sustainable producing timber, fruit, nuts, and fuel. Trees create shade as well and shelter for crops and livestock, and they improve livestock well-being too. Thousands of wildlife species depend on trees for food and shelter, and trees can boost our health, nutrition, and well-being.
Thanks, Pamela. Let's stay in Chasiama for our next story from Grace Gumba, who discusses how food processing initiative has enhanced resilience in her community.
Food processing is crucial. Processing has created employment and stabilizes the group's financial allowances. Before, Chibwe community had lost their culture of eating what they have grown on their own. That has caused a major change in the food system of Chibwe community. Now the group is into processing, mushroom production, tree nurseries, and producing their own food in their nutrition gardens, while the solar dryer is doing wonders in the food system of the beneficiaries and the community at large. We process, preserve fruits, tomatoes, and traditional vegetables. Furthermore, we eat, store, and sell surplus. That has improved our nutrition and income status. Also transformed the quality of life from the bottom of our poverty.
Grace's work really evidences the potential of food preservation techniques such as solar drying alongside community collaboration and entrepreneurship. The Chibwe Women's Group are now more resilient through the lean season and through the drought years in the face of climate change.
All right, so our next stop is in Matobo, Matebeleland South, where Constantine Mpofu shares a story about young entrepreneurs there who are thriving despite economic hardships.
In a region where young people have been forced to migrate to neighboring countries and other regions to look for employment opportunities due to climate change and the existing national economic crisis, there is a group of young people who are a spark of hope of bringing positive change to the rural economic environment by developing their own livelihoods with their own knowledge and resources, which are promising sustainability and reliability. A 35-year-old young man from Ward 7 in Malaba village, who is a bricklayer and a vegetable farmer, a 32-year-old young lady from Ward 9 in Chipsani village, who is an indigenous goat breeder, and a 28-year-old young lady from Ward 8 in Piti village, who is a poultry farmer. These young people also have savings accounts, which are a form of financial raising strategy to be able to develop and grow their businesses. Despite the effects of climate change, which has led to high temperatures and low rainfall, the low buying power within the region, the harsh economic conditions limiting the expansion of business, the lack of support from financial institutions, the poor road infrastructure to transport their products to bigger markets, these young entrepreneurs are riding the wave. They are all contributing to the rural economy by employing innovative strategies to market their products, using social media, which has helped them to reach out to diaspora markets, add value to their products by tapping into their product value chain and reaching out to well-established retailers.
Constantine's story gives us an idea of how important personal resilience and perseverance is in terms of having the capacity to leverage skills and resources to overcome challenges. It is really inspiring to hear that young people in Matopos are overcoming challenges and contributing to their communities.
Oh, yes, thank you, Pamela. That is a powerful story. I guess they are using their own personal resilience to contribute to community resilience and longer term environmental resilience. It's all connected, isn't it? Here's a wonderful example of this in a story from Beauty Musemwa in Lower Gurube, Mashonaland Central Province. She tells us about Tadiwa, a divorced single mother who was struggling.
After some research and trainings from Lower Gurube Development Association, a member of Pelam Zimbabwe, Tadiwa learned about sustainable agriculture and how it could not only provide them with nutritious food, but also potentially generate income. With a small plot of land she had inherited from her parents, Tadiwa decided to give sustainable agriculture a try. She started growing vegetables and plants such as groundnuts, sorghum, millet, and wheat using organic methods, taking care to conserve water and protect the environment. At first, it was tough. Tadiwa faced challenges like pests, weather fluctuations, and the steep learning curve of farming. But she persisted, seeking advice from the Development Association and learning from her mistakes. As the season passed, Tadiwa and Anashi's garden grew more diverse with fruits, herbs, flowers, adding beauty and variety to their lives. Tadiwa felt empowered by her newfound skills and independence, grateful for the opportunity to provide for her daughter in a sustainable and meaningful way. Through sustainable agriculture, Tadiwa had transformed her life. She had overcome the challenges of divorce and single motherhood, finding strength and resilience in the soil beneath her feet. And as she looked at her thriving garden, she knew that their future was brighter than ever before.
Tadiwa's journey highlights the transformative power of sustainable agriculture in improving both personal and financial well-being. It is a great example of how overcoming personal challenges and engaging with sustainable food practices can often build longer-term strength and resilience in our food systems.
Thank you, Pamela and Melody, for joining us for this episode of the Co-Creating Sustainable Food Systems series. The episode has focused on resilience, strengthening local food systems, and adopting more sustainable agricultural practices can significantly improve the resilience of communities. As the stories from Robert, Thompson, and Beauty showed us, capacity building and training opportunities are essential for both personal and socio-ecological resilience. Skills in organic farming, compost-making, and livestock rearing, for example, become more valuable resources and can be used to enhance income generation and living standards, fostering greater diversity in livelihood strategies and creating more economic stability.
Yes, and from Grace's story, we were shown how promoting local food processing and preservation techniques can boost food security and nutrition throughout the year, enabling communities to store and sell surplus produce. Value addition increases farmers' profitability by turning raw materials into higher value products, creating more market opportunities and boosting income. That surplus can help us to get back up when we fall.
For wider system resilience, addressing the impacts of climate change is crucial. For agroecological practices such as water harvesting, tree nurseries, and holistic land use management, helping communities to adapt and to protect their environment in the face of more frequent climate shocks.
We all strive for and deserve the opportunity to live with dignity. Supporting youth entrepreneurship, as Constantine talked about, is important in fostering local economic growth in the longer term, while dedicated capacity building support for single mothers and other vulnerable households in rural areas enhances their economic independence and quality of life.
Indeed, and strategies like these shared in our stories of change today can help to secure a more resilient future for our communities and for our children.
The following policy messages are drawn from the lived experiences of farmers and practitioners who have learned through trial and error how to generate more resilience in their own lives and communities. We need need donors and government to fund training programs in sustainable agriculture to help communities in rural areas achieve better economic stability through skills such as organic farming, compost making, and sustainable livestock rearing.
We need to promote the use of agroecological practices, including swales, tree nurseries, and holistic land management to help communities adapt to climate change and improve resilience in the long term.
Yes, and there needs to be more support to rural youth entrepreneurship, providing skills training and access to resources, driving local economic growth and innovation into the future.
We need to assist single mothers and women in rural areas who are often marginalized by society and face multiple compounded challenges to making ends meet and securing food.
Yes, governments and donors also need to encourage local food processing and preservation techniques, such as the use of solar dryers, enabling communities to store and sell surplus produce to enhance food and nutritional security over the whole year.
And oh yes, we need to encourage value addition.
Finally, to support all of these initiatives and ideas, we need investment in infrastructure which supports local food production, processing, and marketing for small-scale producers.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration of resilience and transformation, taking inspiration from the stories of farmers across Zimbabwe. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your network. Stay tuned for more stories that inspire and solutions that drive positive change. You can listen to more inspiring stories of change and get further information by visiting our website. Check it out by searching Co-Creating Sustainable Food Systems Story Map, or follow us on YouTube.
This was Rudo Chakanyuka
And Sydney Mangweka.
On behalf of the Co-Create Change team, thank you for listening.